Week 13 studs and duds. Some of these guys led you to victory, and others caused your defeat. Jeffrey, let's get into it.
Yes, sir.
Wide receiver studs. A.J. Brown has been balling lately. 3 straight games with 10 or more targets, over 100 yards and a touchdown in back-to-back games. This week he had 2 of them things. Now, they have come in losses, which I'm sure the team is very upset about, but he got his targets, so he's fine. Haven't heard a peep since he's been getting the ball thrown to him. Still leading to some L's though. Unexpected L's too. They lost to the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears? Ugh, very surprising. But he's getting his, so he gonna be just fine. Fire him up. Rice has been absolutely balling. Back-to-back games with 24 more fantasy points. Last week he had 2 touchdowns. I'm loving the targets too. 12. They are feeding their number 1 man. I will say this though. You gotta work on your catching, bro. You dropped an easy catch that would have gotten you the first down that y'all desperately needed in the 4th. And I know this is a fantasy show, but bro, you gotta catch that. Y'all up here fighting for the playoffs. You missing easy layup catches. Now, you do make some nice catches now, but that one, not your best work. But I believe in you. You got some tough matches coming up. Tighten up. You got this, bro. You don't need it. Dontavian Wicks did the work. 6 receptions for 94 yards and 2 of them things. Good for you, bro. I don't see it being consistent. They have too many mouths to feed, but nice. Welcome back, Jameson Williams. It's good to have you. After that goose egg you gave last week, way to bounce back. Now, it doesn't hurt that Amon-Ra St. Brown got knocked out fairly early in this game, which probably led to your 10 targets. But everybody don't do work with them 10 targets. You went 7 for 144 and a touchdown, buddy. Good job. Now, will you be consistent? I do like that you play the Dallas Cowboys this week. Nice. And as long as Amon-Ra St. Brown is down, you're explosive enough to where we're going to have to keep starting you. Williams has had a touchdown in 4 of the last 5 weeks. That's pretty amazing. Keep firing him up, especially while Amon-Ra St. Brown's out. Adonai Mitchell, congratulations on your great game. 8 for over 100 and a touchdown. Nice. Happy to see you in a new home doing work, because Indy had to let you go. For those of you who have forgotten, this is the guy who dropped the ball at the goal line and had a holding play on a beautiful Jonathan Taylor touchdown that got called back on an unnecessary hold. Good to see you bounce back, bro. Hold on to the ball. CeeDee Lamb showed out on Thanksgiving, going for 7 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Way to make my turkey day. It's his best fantasy day of the season. Coming at a good time, too. We're gearing up for the playoffs. Devon Vele balled out. He went 8 for 8 with 93 yards and a touchdown? Nice. Let's go. Tyler Shaw was slinging it a bit. Wasn't expecting that. Terry McLaurin was great in his first game back. He had 14 targets. I know it went to overtime, but 14 targets? Wow. Turned that into 7 for 96 yards and a touchdown against Denver, no less. Y'all know Pastor 10 out there locking people down. My man had almost 100 yards and a touchdown. Bravo. In your first game back? Nice. Some of y'all don't realize this. He's played 1 game in the last 2 months. That's crazy. Welcome back. Devontae Adams has been unbelievable this year. He's had 11 touchdowns in the last 6 games. He's averaging almost 2 touchdowns a game. What? In the last 6 games, he's had 2 or more touchdowns in 4 of them. Crazy work. And on the year, he has 14. People, we still have 5 weeks left to go, and he has 14 touchdowns. Wow. Crazy work. You know, at first I didn't see why they got rid of Cooper Kupp, but let's just say I see it now. Considering what Cooper Kupp is doing over there in Seattle versus what Devontae's doing over here with the Rams, it must have been tough on them, but they made the right decision. Devontae has been balling. Ballin'! Another great game for Nico Collins. 5 receptions for 96 yards and a rushing touchdown. Would you look at that? I love the targets this man gets. He's had 10 or more targets in 5 of the last 6 games. Wow. They know where their bread is buttered. Keep slinging it to the big guy. Ooh. Can't wait to see him against Kansas City. Jacoby Myers had his best game as a Jacksonville Jaguar. 6 for 90 and a touchdown. The man's had back-to-back weeks with a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr., you may have to get in where you fit in, bro. Disappointing. Good job for Myers, though. Jeffrey, can you give me the honorable mentions, please?
Christian Watson, Jamar Chase,
Alec Pierce, and Jalen Coker. All of them had 17 or more fantasy points. Pretty good. Take me to the Dudge, Jeffrey. All these wide receivers deserve an F for fantasy football in week 13. But you know we gotta start at the top with the Viking. Justin Jefferson just had the worst game of his career. 2 receptions for 4 yards? Are you kidding me? You threw it to him 6 times? Hell, that was worse than J.J. McCarthy. And that's saying something. 4 yards is unbelievable. Guys, this is one of the best wide receivers in the league. If you can't get it to him, you can't get it to nobody. He's Justin Jefferson. The Seahawks are good, but they're not the 85 Bears. I wore this jersey for a reason. I am not a Vikings fan, but Randy Moss is that guy. He's a dog. And Justin Jefferson is a dog. But a dog's gotta get fed. I don't care what happens with the Vikings anymore. Get Justin Jefferson the ball. Your season is lost. When J.J. McCarthy comes back, he better be slinging that thing. I'm talking 10 targets a game minimum. Y'all not making the playoffs. You can chalk that up. It's over. It's all about seeing if J.J. McCarthy is gonna be your guy next year. Newsflash, he's probably gonna be competing with somebody because he's played bad enough to where he needs to. And getting J.J. his numbers. And it's not even from a fantasy standpoint. Y'all paying this man a lot of bread, a lot of quiche. Don't you want to make it entertaining at least? Don't you have fans? Y'all went from one of the most explosive offenses last year to almost not even scoring. Coach, you're an offensive mastermind. Kevin, let me help you out with what you should do. Sling it. Throw the ball to the best receiver in the league. If there's anything he should be able to rely on, it's that the ball will be somewhere in this region 10 times a game. Also, J.J. McCarthy, bro, if you don't want to be a career backup, my dude, I'm going to need you to start having a productive game. I know you weren't in this game, but this game only proved y'all don't got no backups. You're the guy now. We really only needed to see that no-name dude one time. He can stay on the bench. 9 or whatever you're calling yourself might need to convert to 10. And that's how many targets Justin Jefferson should have every game. Tighten up. I kind of believe in you. Let's go on to this next one. These boys stressed me out. This next one was disappointing. Jackson Smith-Njigba had his worst game of the year. 2 receptions for 23 yards, no touchdowns. Honestly, that was crazy. But if you watch the game, they really didn't even need him. That defense was smacking up the Vikings quarterback. I mean, pick 6, fumbles, interceptions. They really didn't need much offense from him. It was turn the ball over, run the clock. That was about it. I'm not concerned long term. He's been the best wide receiver so far this year. It's a down week. I'd rather have it now than in the playoffs. Moving on. DK Metcalf is officially a touchdown-dependent wide receiver. When he doesn't score a touchdown, it's unbelievably disappointing. If he scores a touchdown, pretty good. In the last 5 games where he didn't score a touchdown, 6 points, 9, 6, 2, 8. If he doesn't score a touchdown, he's just not getting it done. My man has not had 10 targets all year. Not a single game over 5 receptions. Not one. Why are you paying him so much money? For what? This isn't even his fault. Throw him the ball. He signed a 5-year, $150 million deal. Y'all are paying this man $30 million a year to catch the ball 5 times a game? What? I low-key can't even be that mad at him. I mean, I'm disappointed. To be clear, I ain't draft him nowhere. So it's kind of y'all thing. But still, for $30 million, that man better need to go to the sidelines to hydrate how much we gonna be throwing him the ball. What? I don't know. You don't have a number 2. Who the hell else y'all throwing it to? Oh yeah, a bunch of tight ends, bro. Get the ball to DK Metcalf. Since when is he not a beast? Did he shrink? Is he not still like 6'4", 225? Wow, just searched it. 6'4", 229. I ain't gonna lie, that was pretty spot on. But y'all know what it is. Y'all need to get him the ball. Zay Flowers had an absolutely horrific game. 2 receptions for 6 yards. Ugh. And I'm pretty sure you fumbled because you have 0.6 fantasy points. That's disgusting. I personally don't expect a lot from Zay Flowers. I expect him to be mid. Everybody seems to come into every year saying that Zay Flowers is gonna be this guy. And he's always just mid, like always. And it's not really his fault. If you put him on an offense that knew how to get the ball to a wide receiver or at least prioritized it, then sure, he'd be a good wide receiver. He's talented. But man, oh man, in this offense, you should expect about 10 to 15 points with a game or two at 25 and a game or two at 5. That's about what you're gonna get from Zay Flowers. He has 1 touchdown on the year, and he got it in week 1. Ugh. Hopefully, eventually they start throwing it to him, but I just don't see it. If they get in close, they're just gonna run it with Derrick Henry. Or if Lamar Jackson, they'll run it with him. It's more likely Henry. Or they'll throw it to Mark Andrews if he decides he can catch the ball. Or Isaiah Likely. Do you see what I'm getting at here? They'd rather give it to any one of those guys more than Zay Flowers in the red zone or towards the end zone. They just don't like to do it. I don't know what to tell you, but I tell you every year. And every year, this happens. Stop getting your hopes up. Brian Thomas Jr. was horrible in his first game back against Tennessee, who's a terrible team. He went 2 for 28. That's awful. But to be fair, he really hasn't been great in a while. And it's his first game back from injury, so I'm hoping that he gets his sea legs underneath him. Got some interesting matchups coming up, though. Come on, Brian Thomas. We need you. And this Jags team has been pretty good. So hopefully it gets better. Can't really get much worse than 2 for 28, so it's only up for here. I'm going to fly through the rest of these guys. Michael Pittman Jr. has been terrible 2 out of the last 3 weeks. And the only reason he wasn't terrible in that 3rd week is because he got a touchdown. Without that touchdown, he would have been 7 points or less in 3 straight weeks. They have been pretty bad matchups, but no bueno. I'm officially concerned about Rome Odunze, at least from a fantasy standpoint for this year. He's had 8 or less fantasy points in 6 of the last 8 games, and he only hit 8 once. Targets are going up and down. 6, 9, 6, 10, 3, 10, 6, 6, 6, 5. He's had 1 touchdown in the last 8 weeks. Started off the season, 5 touchdowns in 4 games. Since then, 1 touchdown in 8 games. He has fallen off a cliff. I'm officially concerned. They got the next 2 out of 3 games they have against division rivals in the Green Bay Packers. Pretty good defense. Great run defense. I'm going to have to look into their wide receiver defenses. Ricky Pearsall has been bad or out for the last 2 months. I don't even really think I need to talk about him anymore. You don't have to roster him. 72% of people are. You really don't. Man, there's a lot of receivers on the bus list. Oh my goodness. Darnell Mooney, 2 for 25. Actually, I'm gonna stick on this next one for a second. Jerry Jeudy, you got some nerve going over to Shadur Sanders and talking to him like that, all the clapping the hands and animation. Hey, I need you to relax. Wasn't nobody getting all that smoke when it was Dylan Gabriel up there not balling out? Joe Flacco not balling out? You haven't had more than 5 receptions all year. Now, I'm not saying that Shadur Sanders is perfect, but man, you gotta know that you're on the sidelines getting watched. Y'all up there arguing back and forth over this. Y'all keep that mess in house. Y'all ain't good enough to be this mad. You ain't good enough to be this mad. Bro, you got a rookie. What are you expecting? He ain't Brett Favre. Last thing he needs is a super mid wide receiver coming up to him, yelling at him on the sideline. Keep that mess in house. We don't need to see all that. Also, you weren't producing without him, so I don't know why you acting like anything that's happening is out of the norm. Disappointing. I will say this though, Shador, you could play better. You did miss him on a pretty wide open throw. I know about the weather conditions. I know. But you could have thrown a couple better balls. DJ Moore has been hot and cold all year, keeping it moving. It's actually the same with Joshua Downs, Khalil Shakir, Cooper Kupp, Trey Tucker, and Troy Franklin. It's a roller coaster, keeping it moving. On to the running backs. Running back studs. Bijan Robinson was in a class to himself this week. There was a 10-point gap between him and all the other running backs. The man balled out. Almost 200 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. Could have had 2 if he didn't have one of the best backup running backs in the league in Tyler Algier. Bijan's been incredible. 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's had 30 or more fantasy points. He's winning you weeks by himself. Got a couple tough run defenses coming up, but he's Bijan Robinson. He'll be all right. Let's go through the honorable mentions, the A's. RJ Harvey had 2 touchdowns this week. A little over 60 yards. Not bad. Like that he was getting involved in a passing game. Got 3 receptions. DeAndre Swift had his best game in a month and a half. 18 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown? Let's go. And it was against the Philadelphia Eagles? Oh, that vaunted Philadelphia Eagles? Did they have 2 running backs go for over 100 on y'all? Wow. That's crazy. Speaking of, Kyle Monangai joined the club. 130 yards on the Eagles' head top. That's crazy work. I thought it's one of the best defenses in the league. Y'all let the Chicago Bears run on you like, I don't know, thunder and lightning. Over 100 for both is crazy work. Are the Bears for real? I think they're for real enough to make the playoffs. And I know that they're the number 1 seed. I know. Mad respect. But number 1 seed is crazy. Back to Monangai. He's had a touchdown in 4 straight games. Now he goes up against the Green Bay Packers next week, which that should get interesting. But if you can run on the Eagles, you got a shot. Kilmani Vidal had 126 yards and a touchdown. He had a great 59-yard touchdown run right up the sideline. Boy was getting it. The Raiders suck. They're so bad. Just another day in the office for Devon Achane. Another 134 yards and a touchdown. Man, this guy is incredible. He's had 120 or more yards in 3 straight games. And he's involved in the passing game. Not really much this week, but prior to this week, 5 receptions, 6 receptions, 6 receptions, 5. He's crushing it for PPR leagues. Just got to stay healthy, and he is doing that. Devin Singletary played well when Tyrone Tracy went out. I believe he got injured. Honestly, I haven't been recording while this game has been going on. He was carted off the field with a hip injury. Yikes. Devin did a good job filling in, though. 68 on the ground, 34 in the air, and a touchdown. Not bad. James Cook dominated again. 144 yards on the ground, 33 in the air. Got you almost 19 points without a touchdown. Ballin'. He's been incredible. 3 straight games with 18 or more fantasy points. And he gets the Cincinnati Bengals next week. Wow. Getting you ready for the playoffs. Chase Brown over 100 all-purpose yards. But I really like him going 7 for 7 on the targets. Love to see that. Love to see that. In a PPR, 7 receptions. Let's go. Those are wide receiver numbers. Nice. Moving on to the duds. Saquon Barkley crushed you this week. 56 yards with no receptions, no touchdown, 5.6 points, man. That's bad. Prior to that, he was disappointing, but it didn't really hurt you. Like, getting 10 to 15 points for a running back, it's not great, but it's not crushing your week. Less than 6 fantasy points is crushing you. Got to get him back involved in the passing game. In the game before this, he had 7 receptions. This game, 0. What? Now, the Eagles lost, in back-to-back games. So I'm hoping they're learning their lesson and figuring out this offense because it's clearly broken. A.J. Brown is getting his and he's eating. Cool. Well, we need a balanced offense. Saquon got to start getting work done. It's not just a play calling. Offensive line is a little different. He may be a tad tired from dominating last year, but I'm real curious how he's going to play down the stretch. Fantasy playoffs are right around the corner. Can't have many more of those 5.6 fantasy points. Those are crushing. Tighten up. Rashad White took a back seat with Bucky Irving back. That makes sense. Jordan Mason splitting work, but it did look like Aaron Jones got banged up, so maybe he gets more work moving forward. Noah starting Tony Pollard because he's been terrible. Same with Isaiah Pacheco. Travis Etienne Jr. did have his worst game of the season, though. Less than 50 total yards. Homie got you 5.1 fantasy points. Brother, Prior to that, he was between 16 and 20, so I'm not overly concerned, just a down game. Against Tennessee is kind of surprising. Aaron Jones got banged up, like I said before. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has not had more than 6 fantasy points in about 2 months. You can officially stop starting him. Yeah. Rostered in about half the leagues. Hopefully you're not starting him, because why at this point? And I've removed Emmanuel Wilson. He's a backup. Moving on to quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes may have lost the game, but he won you your fantasy matchup. That man was balling. 4 touchdowns, 161 yards, and 4 of them things. Them things is touchdowns. 4 of them things. And he had 30 yards rushing on top of that. This is his first 4 touchdown game since week 4. I hope you enjoyed it, because they're going up against the Houston Texans this weekend. It's a much different defense than the Dallas Cowboys, let's just say. Jordan Love threw for 4 touchdowns this week on Thanksgiving. What a way to start off a turkey day. 234 yards, not really anything on the ground, but 4 touchdowns will put you on the A+ list. Honorable mentions go out to Marcus Mariota,
Bryce Young, Drake May.
They all had 22 or more fantasy points. Very solid, guys. Lamar Jackson has been terrible for fantasy football for 3 straight weeks, getting you less than 8 fantasy points. 8 fantasy points for a quarterback is nothing. You get either 4 to 6 for a touchdown. He's had 0 touchdowns in 3 weeks. That's crazy. He's gotten over 200 yards passing 1 out of the last 4 weeks. And that one was this week. And he still didn't get 8 points. Clearly he's banged up, but it's not all that. Drops by Zay Flowers or fumbles by Zay Flowers. Speaking of fumbles, Isaiah Likely fumbled through the end zone. That would have been a touchdown. Mark Andrews up here dropping the ball like he's covering his hands in butter. So it's not all the injury. His team is also letting him down in just not doing the one thing you gotta do. Hold on to the ball. Are y'all not running drills? Hold on to the ball. Like, y'all got a dropping problem. Drops, fumbles. Y'all need to tighten it up. This is an easy division to win right now. You're leading it with 6. Mahomes may miss the playoffs. Josh Allen is not as dominant as he normally is. Joe Burrow just got back from injuries. They have 4 wins and they just beat y'all at home. You got beat in your own house by a man with turf toe. And T. Higgins wasn't there. And you didn't just lose, you lost handily. Well, just score like 14 points. You got outscored 32-14 at home. I was watching this game on Thanksgiving like everybody else. And my brother and my dad kept saying that, oh, it's still early. They're going to come back. And I was like, I don't know about all that. 7 in the first half, 7 in the second half. Mistake after mistake after mistake. They just don't run a tight ship. Whether they got games in the locker room or not, they're just not running a tight ship. Catch the ball. Don't fumble. It ain't that hard. Well, for professional athletes. It'd be tough for me, but y'all get paid millions of dollars for that. Moving on. Caleb Williams had a bad game for fantasy, but he was too busy worrying about beating up on the Philadelphia Eagles and becoming the #1 seed than he was our fantasy team. Can't blame him. 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. The other 2 touchdowns came on the ground by their running backs. I'm not overly stressed about it. I'm not expecting him to be the most consistent quarterback in the world. Also, he was facing the Eagles. I really wasn't expecting a lot. But to be fair, I wasn't expecting them to win. And they definitely did that. I knew they'd cover that 7.5 though. One of the 5 picks I got right. Golly, was this week bad. Embarrassing. Stroud was bad for a fantasy standpoint on his first week back, but in real life, threw for 270. No touchdowns, a pick. But they got the dub though. That defense is good. Some people were starting Cam Ward. That was a mistake. Geno Smith threw 2 touchdowns and is still on this list because he only got 13 fantasy points. That was horrible. He's not a good quarterback. And hopefully y'all weren't starting Tua, Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, or Shadur Sanders. Moving on to the tight end position. Tight end studs. Brock Bowers is an incredible tight end. The Las Vegas Raiders are hard to watch unless you're watching plays where Brock Bowers is involved. Now, he went 4 for 4 for 63 yards and 2 of them things. One of them was a fantastic falling catch. I thought the ball was gonna hit the ground. He corralled that in. Ooh! If you haven't seen it, go see it. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. Kid's got a bright future, but it's a bad team. Trey McBride has been unbelievable since Jacoby Brissett has become the starting quarterback. He's just doing work. He's had 16 or more points in 7 straight games. He's had 20 or more points in 5 out of the last 7. I mean, they are peppering this man with the ball. Listen to these targets. 9, 10, 11, 13, 9, 13, 11. What? This is a tight end we're talking about. And they are just peppering this man with the ball. Love to see it. Please stay healthy. I need you in my playoff run. Zach Ertz was absolutely incredible. 10 for 106 yards. I mean, Marcus Mariota just kept going to him. He had 13 targets. That's wild. Honorable mentions go out to Travis Kelce, who went 5 for 45 and a touchdown. Solid. Kyle Pitts with a surprisingly good game. 7 for 82 yards. Wow. Nice to see him involved. Good job, kid. Dallas Goedert has had a terrible game. 2 for 27. Honestly, if you're starting him, you're just hoping for a touchdown. 3 straight games with 2 receptions, less than 10 points for the last month. I'd have a backup plan. Same thing with David Njoku, another terrible game. 2 receptions for 4 yards. I mean, these are unplayable numbers. 3 straight games with less than 3 fantasy points. Wild. Yeah, please find someone else to start. So that's going to do it for my Studs and Duds episode. Who led you to championship and brought you down to defeat? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, to the notification bell down below. I'll see you soon, Ben Nation. Peace.